Okay, guys, I wanted to go over a couple of things with you. This is a slide on that PowerPoint that I posted last week for verbals. So you should have already gone over the notes on slides 1 through 6, which address participles and participial phrases. One important thing from that section of notes that I wanted to point out, we have talked about participles already this year, but we talked about them as verbs. Present participles, past participles used as verbs. When they are used as verbs, they always have a helping verb. Remember that present participles are created using a form of be and an ing. Past participles are created using a form of have, and then you usually add a d or an ed to the verb unless it is irregular. Remember, for irregular verbs, you just kind of have to know those. We took a quiz on them already. So like freeze does not become have freezed. It becomes have frozen because it's an irregular verb. So you should have already gone through participles. We're talking about them now as adjectives. They will not have a helping verb when they are used as adjectives. You should have gone through participial phrases. These are just kind of the words that complete the participles' meanings. They're still used as adjectives. They function as adjectives. Remember that adjectives describe nouns and pronouns, and they answer the questions how many, how much, what kind, or which one. Today, I just have 2 slides that I want you to go through. Like I said, these are on the PowerPoint that's already been uploaded. So if I move too quickly through these, you can pull that PowerPoint up and go back through the slides slowly. A misplaced participle is a participial phrase that seems to modify the wrong word, or it may seem to modify more than one word in a sentence. So it's in a sentence where there is something that it should be modifying, but we haven't put it in the right place. The general rule for participles and participial phrases is you want to get them as close as possible to the noun or pronoun that they are modifying. Okay, so the first example, slithering through the grass, I saw a snake trimming the hedges this morning. I have 2 participial phrases in this sentence. My first one is slithering through the grass. Slithering is my participle, slither is a verb, and I've added an ing to the end, but now I'm using it as an adjective. Now obviously, another kind of giveaway that this is a participial phrase, we have this comma. Remember that if you have participial phrases at the beginning of the sentence, you always set them off by a comma. This first participial phrase, slithering through the grass, if we just look at the sentence, because I told you the rule is to put it as close to the word it's modifying as possible, we would assume that it was modifying I, but when we read the sentence, we know it's not I was not slithering through the grass. A snake was slithering through the grass. This should actually be modifying snake, but I have put it in the wrong place. I have misplaced it. The other participial phrase is trimming the hedges. Trimming is your participle. I took the verb trim and added another M because that's how you spell it, and then an ing. And now instead of using it as a verb, I'm using it as an adjective. Now it looks like it's describing snake because that's what it's closest to, but we know that the snake was not trimming the hedges, I was. What I need to do is flip these 2 participial phrases. So it should say trimming the hedges, or maybe trimming the hedges this morning, I saw a snake slithering through the grass. That would be how we put the participles in the correct place. I also would like to point out that your verb in this sentence is saw. This is just a past tense verb, but I know that my participles are adjectives, not verbs, because they don't have helping verbs. Another thing, slithering through the grass in this participial phrase, you have a prepositional phrase, through the grass, inside a participial phrase, which is totally allowed. You can have a phrase within a phrase. We're only looking for participles right now. I'm not going to put prepositional phrases on the test to try to trick you or anything like that. Just look for your participles and anything that completes its meaning. The next sentence, covered with a glaze, the instructor put the pot into the kiln. Covered with a glaze is your participial phrase. Covered is a past participle. It's used as an adjective, it looks like in this sentence that it's describing instructor, but it is not the instructor that is covered with a glaze. It is the pot that is covered with the glaze. I've placed my participial phrase in the wrong spot. I need to move it and say the instructor put the pot covered with a glaze into the kiln. All right, so those are misplaced participles. They do have something in the sentence that they modify, but I've put them in the wrong location. I need to change their location. Now, one more slide. A misplaced participle is different from a dangling participle. A dangling participle is a participle or a participial phrase that does not have anything in the sentence to modify. There's nothing that it can be describing. So obviously you don't want to use these because they don't make sense. An example, having worked on the ceramic project, the finished pot was disappointing. Your participial phrase, having worked on the ceramic project, okay? But there is nothing in this sentence that having worked on the ceramic project can describe. It cannot describe, there's only one noun in the sentence, after your participial phrase, and it's pot. The pot cannot work on a ceramic project. This is a dangling participle. We have written the sentence completely wrong. It doesn't have anything to modify. So you would have to completely rewrite this in order to correct it. Here's an example. Having worked on the ceramic project, I was disappointed in the finished pot. Now, having worked hard on the ceramic project modifies I. You could also say he or she, or you could add someone's name. It doesn't matter what noun you choose, but you have to add a noun for this participle to modify. Okay, so I'm going to upload an assignment for you. It will actually be in your orange textbook, but check the lesson plan section of RenWeb, and I'll have your assignment to practice. And if you have any questions, let me know.